Phase 8 of Season of Discovery has been out for over a month now, and we've had plenty of time to check out the new raid, explore the Scarlet Enclave, and experience the expanded lore and story playing out in the classic time period. We've learned a lot about the Scarlet Crusade, the legendary Ashbringer sword, and several of the supporting characters, but this phase has also introduced some curious new mysteries. While these could just be random details or Easter eggs to hint at what's to come in a future Classic Plus, there's one piece of the puzzle that's just too intriguing for me to ignore. The Eastsea Mercenaries, mysterious new allies of the Crusaders within the Scarlet Enclave. Today, we investigate these sailors from beyond the Forbidding Sea, examine why they're here, and theorize on what they might tell us about the future of Classic WoW. As always, thank you for the fun comments and support, and with all that being said, let's get right into it. The far east and west of Azeroth have been topics of speculation since 2004, with many theories as to what lies on the other side of the planet. More continents, a giant ocean, old god or titan ruins? 20 years later, we're still not sure, and in-game hints as to what we might find beyond the edges of the map are few and far between. The Forbidding Sea is especially interesting, as there are very limited interactions along the eastern coast to get players acquainted with this ocean. Only a handful of zones, the Swamp of Sorrows, the Hinterlands, and now the Scarlet Enclave feature this coast in any significant way, and we don't know much about what goes on here. To my knowledge, there are only 2 clues about the Forbidding Sea present in the base game. Watcher Biggs in the Swamp of Sorrows mentions that his caravan was heading for the east coast, but we're not sure why. Maybe to rendezvous with the vessel that was attacked by Murlocs? Whiskey Slim in Booty Bay also directs you to the Hinterlands, where a crate of his crew's hard-earned loot was washed overboard in a storm. We don't know why the Blackwater pirates were this far north, but these precious few details tell us that travel on this side of Azeroth is rare and potentially hazardous. With that established, let's talk Phase 8. With the town of New Avalon and the Scarlet Enclave raid open at last, we have another bit of shoreline to explore both inside and outside the instance. In both areas though, there's a big reveal. An unfamiliar faction of fishermen and pirates aboard a fleet of ships, the Eastsea Mercenaries. Many players are familiar with the pirates of the North and South Seas, but we've never heard of these swashbucklers who apparently traverse the Forbidding Sea. Where did they come from before they began partnering with the Scarlet Crusade? It is possible there's a place we haven't seen yet on the eastern coast that serves as their main base, but I think a more compelling theory is that there must be outlying islands in the far east the mercenaries have either visited or conquered. There are a few clues in New Avalon to support this theory. If you're experienced in cooking, you might have completed the fish collection quest for Carry Hearthfire at the inn, and the fish you find in the hull of an Eastsea vessel indicate you're not skilled enough to identify them. Unknown species from foreign waters, perhaps? Carrie, the head chef of the hamlet, confirms as much when you deliver the goods, supporting the idea these fish were brought in from far away. The coastal region of the Scarlet Enclave is even referred to as the Forbidding Expanse, which to me conveys that idea of distant sea travel. So we have this foreign, unknown mercenary crew that is now under the command of the Scarlet Crusade. This is interesting because the Scarlets are known to be very hesitant of accepting outsiders into their ranks, hardly differentiating between the Scourge and other untainted beings. Their willingness to work with these pirates is likely a sign of desperation in this war against the undead and the heroes of Azeroth. The Scarlet Monastery, Hearthglen, the Scarlet Bastion, all lost, and now the Enclave is the only stronghold left. With the sea being an open conduit for trade and exploration, my theory is that the mercenaries dropped by at some point, perhaps intending to trade with or pillage New Avalon, but were instead bought out by the Crusaders, who now keep them on as naval defense. There are several clues that support this theory. At the New Avalon Lighthouse, you can find a note nailed to the tower door, which reads, "Eastsea Brigands, I'm away on an errand. If you're looking for your money, I suggest paying a visit to Watchman Briggs. Light be with you. Lighthouse Keeper Dalos." Briggs and Dalos both exist in the SOD game files, but I haven't found or heard where they actually show up in game. In any case, this is a clear motive for why the mercenaries are here: money from the Scarlet Coffers. The remaining clues are related to the curious leader of the Eastsea crew, a pirate known as Mason the Echo, who has been given the title of Grand Admiral of the Scarlet Fleet. This is quite the prestigious role for an outsider, and was previously held by Barian Westwind, who was lost off the coast of Northrend. After defeating him down on the shore, Mason can drop an interesting item that further connects these two factions, the Great Staff of Fealty. I'm not one to place a lot of stock on items by themselves, but all the other evidence combined with the fact that the staff has a unique fealty mechanic proves that the pirates, led by Mason, are now fully devoted to the Scarlet cause. For the right price, of course. Perhaps even the mercenaries are sworn to Mason now in a different capacity not usually seen among pirates, establishing a chain of command that is far more rigid and convenient for the crusade. There are a few final details related to the Eastsea that introduce a whole new dimension to their lore, and they all center around Mason. While the pirate-themed boss fight down on the docks features cannons, fire, and a small army of swashbucklers charging from their ships, there are also a few more exotic mechanics. Mason seems to have some sort of magical control over water, and uses spells such as Tidal Force and Drowning Shallows throughout the fight to give players a hard time. Additionally, many of his voice lines seem to evoke a mystical attitude toward the tide and his position as a warrior of the Eastsea. My blades resonate with the ocean's song. The Eastsea grants me strength. I am the slicing gale. You landlubbers are tougher than I thought. I'll have to improvise. Okay, that last one is definitely a callback to Mr. Smite and the Deadmines, but I think you get the idea. The Eastsea Pirates, or at least the subgroup Mason belongs to, seem to have a magical connection with the ocean that is much stronger than any other crew we've seen. Perhaps they are descended from Kultirans who sailed away to explore the East? It's hard to say, but that's the connection that came to my mind. The final mystery is Mason's original title of the Echo, which could mean any number of things. Is he a manifestation, an echo of the Eastsea's power? Is this a rank within the pirate crew? I'm not sure, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts, along with your ideas on the Eastsea presence here in the Scarlet Enclave in general. An interesting new story beat for sure, and one that could be explored in future versions of Classic WoW and beyond. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you learned something new today about the Scarlet Crusade's strange new hires, and I'm curious to see if we ever learn more. Until next time, may the Force be with you.